Hello, welcome to another episode of Growing the Game podcast. My name is Kekeli, and I have my guest here who is the person of Isa. Welcome, sir, and I'm pleased to have you on my podcast today.
Hi, Kwaku. Thank you very much for the invite again, and hi to the viewers.
So, today we just want to dive into the BAL Finals that happened in Pretoria and also look at the domestic leagues happening around the African leagues. And most of the leagues are in their playoff states, and we want to share more light on the African basketball terrain and promote what we have on our continent. So, before we start, we would like to talk about the BL Finals, which you experienced from the classification stage to the finals or LLA Tripoli lifting the trophy. So, can you tell us a bit about what went on and how everything happened there?
I think it was a great playoffs and finals. It showed that here in South Africa there is an appetite for basketball. South Africa people showed up in their numbers at the Sunbet Arena, and they were there for the action on the court and also the halftime shows. So you could see that again. Yes, people really enjoyed this game of basketball. Also, one of the things, the good signs was that the attendance of Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie for the third and fourth place games. I'm sure he will have been encouraged by what he had seen on in that game and the numbers that filled the seats at the arena, and it will probably encourage him to take what remedies to fix the issues that plague the game here in this country. In a recent clip, he had also spoken about basketball being on his radar, and it's a case of us waiting and seeing what actions he's going to take.
Yeah, that's nice. We saw a very exciting environment in the arena, the Sunbet Arena, which we can't lie was very pleasing to see that South Africa or Africa is embracing basketball at this level like this. It's really exciting. So let's talk about the games that went on there. How did you see the matchups? How did you were you surprised? Were you shocked, or you were okay with the results that came out and El Ali lifting the trophy?
No shocker for me. I mean, in previous podcasts, we had spoken about this, who the contenders were. Maybe APR was the surprise team, but who actually contested the finals was no surprise for me. Petro and El Ahly, we had spoken about them as contenders. They came into these players with different results. Of course, Petro struggling in the Sahara Conference in Senegal with a 3-3 record, and Al Ahly in the Nile 6, and they were dominant in Rwanda. So, but I think they were the best two teams to contest the final. A player like Assem Mare played out of this world in that final, and also in the 4 games that he played leading up to the final. He was also very impressive, 14.6 points per game, 4.8 assists, and 12.6 rebounds per game. So you could see his value to the team. And also in the final, he also had a very dominant performance, 20 rebounds. Yeah, he played that entire game. And by the end of it, he had explained to the media that he was extremely tired, especially given what he had to go through to come to South Africa, traveling to Turkey first, and that being unsuccessful, not getting his travel documents, then getting to Tunisia, where it was successful, making his way, back home to Egypt, and then coming down to South Africa. So it was a marathon of travel for him. But when the team really needed him, he stepped up, and Coach Fuad Abu Chakra, when in the game that mattered the most, he let him, do his thing.
Yeah, so we I think taking the team bit one by one, let's look at the way what Al Ittihad brought into this tournament. Do you think they lived up to expectation, or they let their fans down in this finals?
Well, they had been confident. I mean, you could also see in Morocco in the Kalahari conference, they were the dominant team. They played well. But yeah, again, it's about pressure and them being able to handle it. And they came up against a Petro team in the semi-final that had changed their lineup twice against Monastir and then against them. So I think maybe the changing of the lineups must have confused the coach of Al Ittihad a little bit. And yeah, that's how Petro eventually got to where they got to. But also, it was a case of players stepping up as well. I think George King didn't show up in those games. Who else?
Yeah, he didn't.
I think, of
Vinales,
course, Vinales as well, and the local
Joe
contingents,
Akil,
Joao Trio.
Joel
I think
Akil.
also the injuries did disrupt a little bit. One of the players did sustain a shoulder injury, a key player.
Mm,
His name now escapes me, but he and also the coach during his press conference said that there was a bug going around in the team. So yeah, it was just that kind of tournament for them.
yeah, I'm sorry. So we saw APR also put up a very good fight in this fight conference or in this playoffs finals, and I think the world was surprised. Let's say, let me not say the world. Let's say Africa was surprised with the performance of APR. Though we know they were coming in with a good team, with the signings they did and the enthusiasm they brought from their conference, we knew they were going to put up a good fight. We saw them in some record-breaking games, dominating the courts here, right, left, and center. And what do you have to say about the APR?
I think APR, they looked very iffy in conference play in Rwanda. I think they were also 3-3. The acquisition of Nuni Omot was a game changer for them up until they met Al Ahly Tripoli, a much more organized team than they were. I mean, I think down the stretch, in that semi-final as well, they just fell apart. It showed that you can't cheat chemistry. You can get all the players you want, but if you don't have a good core of players playing together for a long time, then yeah, you cannot win this kind of tournament. So it's back to the drawing board for them again to make sure that they get a good core of players playing together right from the domestic league into going into the BAL, and not the other way around, getting a whole bunch of signings and then yeah, expecting them to perform miracles.
Yeah, that's true. But we saw in the, I think, was it the third and fourth game where they dominated against Al Ittihad with Emporio putting up those incredible numbers and the team now having the most score in the NBA BAL history in the game. And I think it's the third and fourth game was just a record breaking game for them. They were just
I
there
think
to set new records and break records.
I think El Ittihad, sorry, didn't show up. I mean, they were just flat. It wasn't the game they wanted. They wanted the final, but yeah, and uh, APR, I'm sure this was a big achievement for them and for Rwandan basketball. That's the furthest a Rwandan team had gone from that point, and being third. So yeah, congratulations to them. But I think going back again to the point I was making was that you have to have that good core of players that play together to make sure that when those telling moments come, they are able to step up for you. And yeah, that's what you saw with the two teams that contested the final.
Yeah, talking about the finalists, let's take it from the side of Petro de Luanda. Were you disappointed with the final for their final performance, or you felt that was their limit? That was the limit they could get to.
I think, yeah, there were maybe one or two factors counting up against them. Actually, Tripoli just had a good shooting night on that day, and also Assem Array was, yeah, he played out of this world. And Petro, they just seemed second best in everything against Tripoli. I think also a guy like Murray was the central point of the offense. He was the key to everything. Coach Abu Chakra let him run right until the end of the games. Yeah, I think Al Ahly, the attitude was they have nothing to lose. They are the underdogs. They lose, it's like, yeah, kudos to them for getting all the way this far. As for Petro, they have history on their side. They're an Angolan team, they're from a country where basketball is of a high standard, and the expectation for them is to always win. So,
Yeah.
those were the two contrasting elements. Yeah.
Petro de Luanda had an incredible team with lots of experience in the team with the likes of Solo Diabate. They brought in Sam Kelo Tele, who was also very good. We've seen him play in this BAL last season with Cape Town Tigers, and we've seen his dominance. But with the likes of Dundao, and Morales, Abu Bakar Gaku, and a whole lot of players. And I don't know what they missed out in this season, but I felt they didn't live up to expectation for me, from my side. Petro de Rwanda really didn't live up to expectation because from their classification game, you saw the team was a bit collapsed coming into this. Some might say they didn't put up. They were trying to just adjust to the system before, but I think that was a sloppy start to the finals, which has landed them in this situation. But kudos to them. They put up a good fight in the.
I think, yeah, Sergio Moreno, yeah, those adjustments that he made in the quarterfinals and the semifinals worked. But he was also coming up against another coach who's also a basketball master like Abu Chakra. And he must have also said to the guys, you guys, nobody expected you to get this far, even though I believe teams from North Africa always prepare well for these kinds of tournaments. So you cannot underestimate any team from that part of the world, including the Libyan teams. You saw one last year get that far, and then one this team Al Ahli
Another
Tripoli
one
get
coming.
that far and win the trophy. So those players, I'm sure they were not playing under any kind of pressure at all because nobody, probably most, didn't expect them to get that far.
Coming to the final, the winners of the day, which is Al Ahly Tripoli, we saw the massive celebration they had and the reception they had going back home with the trophy. It was crazy, and this alone shows how much this tournament meant to the people of Libya and the team as well. So I think from my perspective, Libya has been a very good team throughout the first process of road to BAL, the main event, now to the playoffs, and they put up a credible performance, having to play 17 games and just losing one. It's some credible stats over there. What do you think they did right to deserve this trophy?
I think the pieces that they put together from the start of the tournament, that's the road to BAL. And also in terms of at the now conference and also going into the playoffs, especially the playoffs, Fabian White was a good signing for them. He really, did great playing, from shooting the ball and also driving in. He was unstoppable. Look, and also a guy like Murray as well. He was a key factor in the paint area in terms of defense and rebounding and also scoring. Local guys like Nassim Badrouche and Mohamed Sadi, those guys have played together for a long time, so they understand the coach's system. The MVP Jean-Jacques Boissy, he just played out of this world in the Nile conference.
Yeah.
He showed great shooting exhibition in that conference and in the playoffs as well. He did what the team needed him to do, play defense and also in terms of scoring. So I think the Jean-Jacques Boissy that played for Urunani was a very different one to the one that played in for Al Ahly Tripoli.
Hallelujah.
And I think Abu Chakra got the best out of him as well.
Yeah, that brings me to the point that I think my point has been justified clearly that the best team with the depth on the bench wins this whole tournament. Because if you have a team like El Ali Tripoli who even have Boissy on the bench and not a starter, it tells you how deep this team is. Because you have your bench giving you like 30, 40 points compared to what the starting five is giving you, and
Yeah.
they did it all round through the games.
Well, I'd like to disagree with you. I always hold the view that you can never count out a team from Angola. I mean, throughout history, you can look at the old FIBA Club Championship tournament where you see that Angolan clubs, a club like Primeiro de Agosto, have the most title, nine of them. Petro won this tournament, also have one title, and Recreativo Lebon also have a single title. So they are teams from that part of the world, Angola, yeah, or have a standard of excellence that they've maintained throughout. And you can see even in the BAL era, Petro de Luanda winning one final and losing two. They have been the most consistent team. Maybe that final and the other finals that they lost, yeah, it was just down to bad luck. But they've been one of the consistent teams they've been the consistent team in this tournament. since its inception.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the fact that they've been the consistent team in this. But what my point is trying to say is from all that we've seen throughout season one to this season, if you're a team coming into this tournament without no bench, you are going to struggle.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
take River Supers for example. They always come without no bench. They depend on their starting five, and they always struggle. This season, it's clearly showed again in the finals where they had Kelvin Amayo had some medical conditions where he wasn't fit properly. They struggled because they looked to
yeah.
the bench and they didn't have anybody to represent or to replace the players on the court. So I
Yes,
think the depth of
I
the team also
agree.
counts a lot.
Another challenge also is the domestic league in Nigeria. I had asked this question after that loss to, who did they lose to in the quarterfinal? Was it Monas? They lost to APR, correct?
Yeah, APR. Yeah, clearly APR.
After, at the post-match press conference, I had asked Coach Ogo Adaudu, the domestic season in Nigeria starts immediate after the BAL, a few months after the a month
Months after the ball,
or
yeah.
after the BAL, and it carries on until October, November, and
Mm,
that's just not a sustainable way of building a team. They just play
mm,
3 months of competition. So while other teams, they go into the BAL still playing their domestic leagues. So now with Rivers Hoopers, they are just cutting and pasting a team together and expecting a
mm,
miracle. Last year was a miracle run, but this year they couldn't repeat it because that does catch up with you. That cutting and
mm.
pasting process. So you have to have a longer domestic league that runs for 6 to 7 months at least, so that
Yeah.
you are ready for this kind of tournament. And the teams that are playing that are always competitive. You see the El Ahly Tripolis, the El Ahly Benghazis, the
Mm,
Petros, the US Monastirs of this world. They are always having a long season as opposed to
yeah,
what
for
you have
sure.
been going on in Nigeria. I mean, it's a country of 100 million people. There's no
Mm.
reason over 100 million people. So there's no reason not to have a very long lead.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, and I think that'll be our next agenda on this podcast, and we're going to dive into that as well to look at the problems arising. I think I'll say kudos to Al Ali Tripoli for coming in their first time and just lifting the trophy as Zamalek and Al Ali has always done, and it's a massive. We wish them all the best going forward in the intercontinental tournament,
Correct.
which will be taking place in September.
Yes.
So I think we wish them all the best, and I wish and pray they could at least win that for Africa as well. I pray they can win that for Africa. If they can put up a good team again to go compete over there, I think they will stand a chance to win it for Africa. Moving on to the next segment of our podcast, where we want to dive into the domestic leagues in Africa. We've seen some leagues end before the BAL even the finals even started, and the likes of the Tunisian leagues, the Egyptian league. In Tunisia, we saw US Monastir lose after some years. After some years, they lose the national league title to
Yeah.
their arch rivals, Club Africans, and
Yeah.
they with the nation Tunisian Cup.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate we're not going to see US Monastir BL next season because they've lost the national league. When it comes to Egypt, also, we're not going to see Al Etihad, who is going to come back anymore. We're going to see El Ali, former champions, BL champions 2023, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Yeah, 2023 champions come back again because they won the Egyptian league. Al Etihad still the Egyptian Cup as well. So I think
Yeah.
it's just a misfraction. They are just trying to mix up things. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the teams, the nations that are very serious about basketball and the clubs from those countries are seeing that the BAL has in a way raised the standard of basketball on
Mm,
this continent, and those clubs obviously have sound management, good budgets, so they can get the players that they need to go and compete at this level of the BAL. Also, it shows that domestic leagues are also becoming more competitive because, yeah, teams want to invest in getting also players that can compete against the other top clubs in their leagues. It's really, put the lens of what the eyes on basketball on this continent. It's really, yeah, people are probably seeing this game differently on this continent.
That's very true. Talking about the leagues again, and I think we've seen Burundi. In Burundi, we experiencing the playoffs, which is
Yes,
happening there. The league came to an end, and now they're in the playoff phase, whereby we've seen Dynamo beat
the hippos.
Hippos
Yes,
to book a spot in the finals of the VBL playoffs. The Dynamo is still battling it out with Remesha.
yeah,
It's a 2-1 tie now, which is happening. So whereas in the women's side of the Burundi league as well, it's a 2-0 for Dynamo ladies and 2-0 for, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
the hippos ladies or the dynamo.
Yeah, I think Hippos ladies are leading also 2-0 on that section. Let me reconfirm. I'm very sure it's the Hippos ladies leading that series as well. But moving forward, to move from that, let's also look at the Rwanda Basketball League. The Rwanda
Yeah.
Basketball League also just ended, and they are also in the playoffs. Yeah, it's been a dramatic playoffs. I
Yeah,
would lie
I
to
think
you.
in that part of the world, just starting with Burundi, I think Urunani just suffered a small bump on the way to the final. I don't know what kind of team Ramesha has. I haven't properly seen them, but throughout history, Urunani has always been the dominant team in Burundi, and they will probably
Exactly.
make that final against Dinamo. It will definitely be a competitive one. Will it be as competitive as last year? Most definitely. Dinamo, they probably going on the back of they are the first team from their country to play in the BAL, whereas Urunani have often fallen short at the road to BAL stage. So it will be interesting. It will be interesting to watch how things play out in that part of the world. In Rwanda, of course, APR versus Patriots.
Patriots.
Patriots, shocking them a little bit there, 2-1 up. They've
Yeah,
also
it's a 2-1 up.
acquired Raphael Patney. They have
Putney, yeah.
they also have who's this point guard? Is it Isaiah Williams as well or is it Isaiah Williams who plays for
Yeah, I'm sure.
the Patriots, yeah, who's put up
Yeah.
16 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He's a guy with a lot of experience from playing in Europe, Latin America, and in Iraq and Iran. So a very good player, along with Patney, who we saw play for Rivers Hoopers, did pretty well for them while he was there. Even though, yeah, it was a team that lacked chemistry, but he's a very strong player. We remember him as well from the Cape Town Tigers.
Cape Town
So
Tigers, yeah.
yeah, they are the two players that are probably making the difference for Patriots, whereas APR, maybe a little bit of fatigue has crept in, or I don't know what's going on there.
I'll call
But
it too much excitement. I'll call it too much excitement. It's not fatigue. They are too excited about their performance in the bowl. So
so I mean, like guys like Axel and Poyo in the last game, 3 points, and also who's this Ntore Habemana, 5 points. So
yeah.
it doesn't look like they have been inspired to lift their game since the BAL. Whereas the likes of Alu Diarra, 15 points, 11 rebounds, Yusuf Ndoye, 15 points, 10 rebounds in that game. That you can see that yeah, there are levels to this game in terms of quality of player as well.
Yeah.
So I think I
Yeah,
don't know. Well, let me just finish by saying I do not want to call this game, but I think Patriots might be. Well, I don't want to call this game.
certainly.
Let me just leave it at that.
No,
Yeah,
certainly. I see Patriots winning this game. Patriots can give up a 2-1 lead against APR.
yeah,
You can't joke with that. To get that, you can't relax and let APR come back again. No, you have to
yeah,
punish them on the game four. I think APR is
yeah.
going to play very hard on game four to win that series. And then
So yeah,
we
so
already
basically
saw
it's a do or die game for APR in this one. In this,
yeah, we
yeah,
already saw Boissy do his things with Reg, and
Yeah.
Reg is already through to the finals, waiting for
For
APR or Patriots. Yeah.
yeah, he's been
What do you
very
think about that?
I think he's picked up where he's left off, like you saying, like I've just said, being inspired, to lift being inspired and lifting your game. That's what Bossy has done. And you have seen him in two games against UGB. He had put up 29 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists in the 2-0 victory and against UGB. And then again in the third game, 27.7 rebounds, 8 assists in the decisive game three. So you can see the quality of player that Boissy is and why Al Ahly Tripoli signed him for the BAL. So yeah, it's Reg has been very impressive in these playoffs. While in the regular season they were very shaky, this playoffs they've really come to the party. Of course, Ogo Adaudu is also back with them after his stint with his club
Yeah.
Rivers Hoopers in the BAL. So I think they've acclimatized well to the playoff situation, and yeah, they are looking like favorites. But we'll see what happens in this game between APR and Patriots, and yeah.
Do you think Reg will be coming back to the bar, winning the Rwandan championship to come back to the bar?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think my money would be they look good. They look good. I don't know. The opposition that they played must have been not was not that strong, clearly, but they are looking good, and they are. I think with John Jacques Boissy, the way that he's playing, he could probably carry the team on his back and lead them to the title, maybe.
Yeah, from tomorrow, we'll see who will qualify to join Reg because tomorrow will be the game four for the APR and Patriot game. So we'll see who will join them in that era. Moving on from Rwanda, we move to Libya. Libya is
Yeah,
also playing their playoffs games where we've seen the champions already take the lead 2-0 in the series,
yeah,
dominating the first two games. And former finalist El Ali Benghazi
Benga-
also won their third game today
yeah.
and already made it to the finals, waiting
The
for
winner
Al Ali
between
to join them.
yeah, I
Now I
think
will
the
not
game
say
is
Al Ali
taking
is
place.
obviously winning. Yeah,
Yeah.
the game is taking place now. Al Ali is obviously
Yeah,
winning that game.
I
So
think the game is taking place tonight. It's probably
yeah, yeah.
as we speak ongoing.
It's
So
ongoing.
we'll
Yeah.
probably see a final between Al Ahly Tripoli and Al Ahly Benghazi, and
Benghazi.
we'll see. I think Tripoli, yeah. Maybe not to take anything away from their opposition, but yeah, Al Ahly Tripoli is just a few notches higher, and probably most likely they'll take the title again in Libya, given how, what the pieces that they have. They recently signed a former US State Monastir player, PJ
Managed
Hardy. So
mm,
that's a very solid acquisition there to help with the domestic ambitions and probably the intercontinental cup ambitions as well. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Um, I think the finals would be a tough one between Benghazi and Al Ahly Tripoli. I won't
yeah.
lie to you because Benghazi will want to come back to the BAL, so they're going to put up a good fight. I think what will slow Al Ahly Tripoli down will be they're going to participate in the Intercontinental Cup. They wouldn't want to lose a lot of players to injury as well. So I
Yeah.
think that gives Al Ahly Benghazi some advantage in the finals.
Well, I believe that Solo Diabate had said something interesting in an interview with him that, looking at this Al Ahly Tripoli team and comparing it against his former team, well, that was last year that, this team, Tripoli, has better players than the players at his former club. So and we've seen that in the BAL. It will probably most probably be the case in the coming final. Well, that depends on the result of tonight as well.
Yeah, yeah. We don't for the Libyan side. We don't know anything about the ladies because we hardly see informations about their leagues, and that's a problem when it comes to that. We had to deep dig. We have to dig deeper to get this out of them.
Yeah,
Knowing that they are playing playoffs, yeah, we had to dig very deep to get this information. So moving on, the ongoing Senegal finals, which is taking place now, the
yeah,
Senegalese League finals is actually going on between ASV de Dakar versus Genis de Ac.
Yeah.
So they are already playing the finals as we talk. The ladies, I think the ladies might have ended their game, and it's the same against in the ladies division. It's ASVille de
It's the
Dakar
same final
versus
as
Janice de Hague
as
as the men as well. So I don't know who is going to win. I don't know how the process is going to be, but it will be good
well.
to see ASVille de Dakar come back.
I think in the Senegal League as probably the best two structured teams where you see their men's team making it to the final and their women's teams making it to the final. You can see that there's also that thing of what operative word investment coming in where you
Mm,
know people are start management of those clubs are beginning to take basketball more seriously, and you are seeing that the focus of basketball is on also on Africa. So yes, teams are stepping up. So I think in the men's final, I think it will be Vil Dakar. Depending on who they have, Maktage is still part of the team.
yeah,
Who's
he is
this?
still part of the team.
Yang is also part of it. Uh, I don't know who else, but
Fall is there.
yeah,
Fall is
I
there
think,
also.
yeah. So probably Vilda Dakar, they will want to redeem themselves for their poor performance in the BAL Sahara Conference in front of their home fans. So they will probably be wanting to avenge themselves. Whereas the ladies, we did see ASVille Dakar also playing in the club championships
Women,
last
yeah.
year in Senegal. I'm not sure where they finished up, but you know, it's showing that they are a competitive team. I haven't
Mm.
followed that side of the game, and yeah, I will just put my money on Vilda Dakar as well.
Yeah, I am also betting on them to see them back because the only team that could, I feel the only team that could play toe to toe with AS Ville de Dakar was AS Douanis. But I don't know what happened to them this season also, but they
This is
just
the
decreased in performance.
this is the men's
Yeah, the men's
final.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
I
unfortunately, AS
think.
Douanis didn't make it, so it
Yeah,
gives Ville de Dakar the advantage again, once again.
yeah,
Yeah, so moving into the last league we'll be talking about is the Morocco League, where they are playing the Throne Cup. Their playoffs have not started yet. We know they are playing their Throne Cup, that is the national cup. Already we've seen AS Sal make it back to the finals with Fast the Rabat in the men's division, and in the ladies division we see KAC Marrakech and IR Tanga making it to the finals.
yeah. It's also one country they had stopped all basketball activities because of what issues within the federation. It seems like there's an administrative committee now running that, and basketball activities have resumed again. I think in the men's cup final, maybe I'll lean towards Fuz Rabat because of what we have seen of them at the BAL. I'm not so familiar with AS Saleh, even though they've been to the BAL themselves. But what kind of team they have, I'm not sure about them. So, given that you know they have players like Nizre Zuzua from the Cote d'Ivoire, experienced player like Abdel Hakim Zuzua, no, sorry, Hakim Zawita, a big man,
Joita
and also there are other big men from Senegal as well, who's a strong rebounder, good shooters in
Dieng, I think that's
Sufyan.
Dieng.
Yes, yes, Jeng. And also they have a good shooter in Nuhi.
They go for
Is
Fana
he still
also.
part of the team or have they not?
Yeah, I think Fofana is still part of the team. I didn't hear anything that he left,
Because I
but
didn't see him at the BAL, but yeah, I'm just seeing. I'm saying a player like Nuhi, Sufyan Benmin,
oh yeah,
who yes, there's also the tall guy. I forgot his name as well. Skinny guy who's big.
Toskin. I think I've also forgotten about some
Yeah,
of the players
yeah.
actually. A lot of
So
players in here.
So yeah, Fuz Rabah might be the team to look out for in the women's final. I don't want to call it. I haven't followed them, so yeah,
But for the women's final, I think I'll go for IR Tanga because they've been the dominant side so far, putting up great numbers. KAC Marrakech is a good team, but I don't think they way up to IRT Tanga's level yet. So yeah, I'll go for IR Tanga. For the men's section, I think it's going to be a bit dicey because if you see the past winners of the Throne Cup, Fast Rabat hasn't been doing good when it comes to the Throne Cup. We've seen Mass Basketball and AS Sally dominating in that section for some time now. Let's say for the past 3 years or something now. So I think I can't predict now until I see who relieves the trophy. Then maybe I can predict afterwards.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
but I
that's
think for this season, I'm not sure where Fools are in terms of the league standings. But yeah, I think if they've been they're a strong team with in the Moroccan league, and yeah, I think this time around they'll want to do the double if yeah they are in a good position in the league, and also they are that team that would want to avenge themselves for what happened in the BAL as
yeah,
well.
certainly, certainly.
Yeah.
Any updates on the domestic leagues and everything will be brought here to our viewers so that they could know what is happening and stuff. But as of now, as we said, Dynamo is already in the final in Burundi, trying to waiting for who wins between Ramesha and Urunani, which is a
Yeah.
2-1 lead for Urunani. The finals is ongoing in Senegal already between Ville de Dakar and Genis.
John Diak.
And yeah, we've got in Libya, we've got Benghazi already in the final, awaiting who comes from the game between Al Madina and Al Ali
Well,
Tripoli.
actually, Tripoli, yeah.
So yeah, so more updates will be coming, and also in Rwanda, not to forget, Reg is also in the finals, waiting for who wins between APR and Patriot. So any updates on the African Domestic Leagues playoffs will be brought here on Growing the Game podcast next week. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode again and making it a success. We really appreciate your time and efforts you put into it.
Thank you very much, Kwaku. I really appreciate the invite again. And yes, keep growing the game.
Yeah, yeah, so that's what we do here. It's growing the
Uh,
game time.
cheers.
Thank you very much. This is the end of our episode 8 of Growing the Game podcast. And do well to subscribe to our channel and follow us on all social media platforms. See you again another time. Bye.